Madam Deputy Speaker, the theme of this debate is about public services, but there has been a distinct lack of discussion from the benches opposite about what delivers the finances necessary to fund these services. This is the budget, after all, and quite simply, it is the productive economy and the small businesses in particular. The government talks a good game about wanting better funded public services, and each and every one of us in this House would be hard-pressed to find a constituent which would disagree with that. But the measures in this budget, particularly the jobs tax, but also the government's wider agenda, whereby we're moving to French-style labour laws through the Employment Rights Bill, an attack on where that ready money comes from. We must always remember that every single penny of money spent by the British state has to be earned in the private sector. And chucking money at unreformed public sector whilst ballooning public sector pay on the back of the productive economy and small business shows the distinct lack of real-world private sector experience on the government benches. My very first memories of my parents going to night school on alternative evenings in order to get the qualifications they needed to set up their small business. Their aim was simple. It was to give my brother and I opportunities that they themselves could never have dreamed of. But in doing so, and I ended up with quite a prosperous upbringing, I will admit, but in doing so, they paid hundreds of thousands of pounds of money into the government exchequer. They've created apprenticeships and skilled jobs in a tough part of urban Greater Manchester. So they transformed our lives, but they improved the lives of children around them and created opportunities for local people, whilst paying for public services with the taxes that they paid.
Will my honourable friend give way?
Yes, certainly.
I wonder if my honourable friend agrees that the absence of anyone with any experience of actually running a business that creates the wealth, that pays for public services on the front bench opposite may explain why they come up with a budget that is so financially illiterate as this one.
I thank the honourable member. So I think absolutely that does show through, and I think we see that in the OBR forecasts that the honourable member for Isle of Wight East mentioned, because the results of putting taxes up into an unsustainable place means that there might be an adrenaline into the public sector from this injection of cash, but the medium and longer term result of that is lower growth, and that means that the public services are just getting a larger slice of the smaller pie. It's clear to me, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the tax burden is higher than is necessarily sustainable, and so tax rises now will not necessarily flow to greater revenue, particularly in the medium term. I would ask the Government to check its approach, support small businesses first and foremost, and focus its public service efforts in the first instance at productivity reforms. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.